College wrestling season kicks off November 1st when Wisconsin and Buffalo start the road to Detroit, Michigan 2022. Of course, that's when the NCAA Wrestling Championships are happening, but there's quite a lot happening in between there, such as in December when we get the return of a couple of tournaments like the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational and Midlands. Plus, look forward to the National Duels returning that month, December 20th and 21st. The Southern Scuffle will kick off the new year as we head into 2022, but at the end of that month is what everybody's looking forward to, the Iowa and Penn State duel. What is going to happen there? In February, the bout at the ballpark will be surely a fun event when Oklahoma State and Iowa face off, but also Team USA will be taking on Iran in a dual meet. Gable Steveson will likely be also competing in that event. And then in December, that's when that's the big crescendo of this season, the NCAA Wrestling Championships. If you're wondering which NCAA champions are returning and other quick facts about the season, then let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name is Josiah, and welcome to Fanco Wrestling, your source for college wrestling news and discussion. And this is such an exciting time of year for me because there's a lot to start discussing and sparking conversations with wrestling fans. And if you're looking for stats, I will be talking about that in this video, but I do want to let you know that this is brought to you by the Fanco Wrestling Ultimate Guide to the College Wrestling Season. This is 40 pages worth of facts, stats, and figures, everything you need to know about the year. I'll tell you more about it kind of at the end of this video. So let's dive into the stats. So, which national champions are returning? Every single national champion from last year is actually returning, which is fantastic that we're going to get the full field returning, but there are a couple of other guys who will be back, including Yanni Diakomahalis and Mekhi Lewis. So everybody at their weights, and then there's a couple of different weight changes. But Mekhi Lewis won in 2019, as well as Yanni. He's a two-time champion, but because Cornell didn't compete last season, he didn't compete last season. Mekhi did compete at Virginia Tech. Unfortunately, he was kind of plagued by an injury at the end of the year, so he didn't have the outcome that anybody really expected at the national championships. Now, interestingly, every weight will have a national champion in it. A couple could have two, but that's the thing is we're not sure right now at the recording of this video as where Yanni is going. Is he going 41? Is he going 49? If he decides to go 141, then 149 will be the only weight class where there is no returning national champion. As we look to 174 pounds, that's the real crazy weight class to me because not only does it have multiple champs in Mekhi Lewis, in Carter Sirachi, who was Penn State's national champion last year, but there are also multiple finalists. Michael Kemmer of Iowa was the national finalist last year, and a couple of years ago, Hayden Hidley back in 2018 was a national finalist against Jason Nolf. Now, he hasn't made the national finals since then, but he has made the stand a few times since then, and that was at 157 pounds. Bumping up to 174, we'll see how the story changes this year, but lots of exciting action to look forward to from these national champions. And as we look at these All-Americans, because the season and because of these last couple of years have been so crazy, we can actually have the potential for 5-time All-Americans. With the extra eligibility that the NCAA awarded athletes, we see guys, these veterans coming back and just competing and placing more times than anybody ever expected. Miles Amin, for instance, of Michigan at 184 pounds this year, is a multiple-time placer. The other guy who if he gets onto the stand this year, and this is kind of a fun fact, Jaden Ironman at 141 pounds is a 4-time placer already and seeking his 5th All-American finish. What's so fun and cool about him is that his finishes so far, if you don't know, are 5, 4, 3, 2. Could this be the year that he gets up to 1? I mean, this is his last chance to do it. Could he make the finals this year and win a national title? He made the finals last year. This could be the year that he beats Nick Lee or beats Yanni if he's at that weight. We'll see what happens for the Hawkeye. The next thing, we talk about veterans, but what about the new guys? What about the freshmen? What do you have to know about them this season? Well, first of all, there are a couple of contenders, and you may not see all the new freshmen into the lineups because there are a lot of returning guys like the Ironmans, like the Miles Amins, who probably should have been graduated, or even Michich at Michigan should have been graduated, but are still competing. So the freshmen don't necessarily all get the starting positions that they would have, but there still are a few guys to look forward to. For instance, Braxton Amos of Wisconsin, a multiple-time West Virginia state champ, undefeated state champ 3-time, at 197 pounds, will be competing this season. He probably has some of the most notoriety of all the freshmen this season. He's a junior world champ, and that's really what gives him most of the notoriety. But my question is, how is he going to do against AJ Ferrari or Max Dean? Is he going to be able to compete? I mean, Ferrari won it last year as a freshman. Could we see something similar happen this year with Braxton Amos? The other school, I mean, really, you talk about Wisconsin, but let's head over to the EIWA with Cornell. They have so many new guys into the lineup, and because of the last couple seasons, they didn't compete last year. We weren't sure, some of their guys took Olympic red shirts 2 years ago. So there are a lot of newcomers into the lineup, not necessarily freshmen academically, but freshmen as far as eligibility, and we haven't seen them compete yet. Greg Diok-Mahalis, the lightweight, 133 pounds. Yanni's younger brother is a fun guy to watch this season. Josh Saunders at 141. Chris Foca at 174. Cornell's lineup is full of a few stunners that could really make All-American runs this year, and I'd be watching out for them. Personally, just myself, I'm looking forward to Penn State's freshman Alex Facundo at 165 pounds, who's a Michigan State champ and Cadet World bronze medalist. He should be making some waves this year, and I'm excited to see how he does. And speaking of some of those storylines, what are the big storylines this season? There are a few of them. The biggest one, first of all, is that Gable Steveson, Olympic gold medalist, Olympic champion of the world, is back for another year in college wrestling. He's back in the forefront. We weren't sure if he was going to be returning to go after another title. I mean, what a way to end your wrestling career if you ended on an Olympic gold medal. I mean, that's the way to go out, really. But he decided, nope, he is coming back for another year. He wants to win a second title, and who knows, more after that. But he is also doing some deals with the WWE, which is kind of cool. And we'll see him definitely finding new ways to entertain this season. Now, what's not coming back this year is his signature backflip. So he said a couple months ago he's not bringing the backflip back. So maybe there's some new celebrations that he tries out. The other guy, the other bookend, if you will, because Gale was at heavyweight, the other bookend is Spencer Lee. This will be the story of the year. Spencer Lee going after his 4th NCAA title. Unbelievable. And 4th NCAA title for a wrestler, within the last 10 years, because the last guy was Logan Stieber. Before that was Kyle Dake. And then 2 guys before that. And Spencer Lee going for his 4th title. He could be the first ever Pennsylvania wrestler to win 4 national titles. And he could also be the first ever Hawkeye to win 4 titles and the 5th ever 4-time champion ever. This is a storyline to follow. And, Spencer Lee comes with a few storylines this season because, of course, the humdinger is the Penn State and Iowa. Penn State and Iowa, it will be the story of the season. Yeah, there are a couple of other competitive teams, but in the last 8 out of 10 national titles, Penn State has won. The only couple times they were upset or beat was in 2015 when Ohio State won the title, and then last year when Iowa won. Now, you may be saying, okay, 2020, Iowa Hawkeyes would have won. Yeah, they were likely to win, but we don't know what would have happened. Now, Iowa is the defending national champions, but there's quite a lot that can happen there. I mean, last year's tournament, to be honest with you, was a little bit closer than expected. Not, because the Hawkeyes, they dominated, but there were still some guys that didn't necessarily reach their full potential. Alex Marinelli didn't get onto the stand. Max Murin, Nelson Branch, those are guys who can still potentially get onto the stand this year, and if they get onto the stand, I mean, the Hawkeyes are projected to score upwards of 140-plus points, maybe 150 points. Maybe they could reach that mark. But Penn State will be right on the heels. Bringing in Max Dean, new freshmen like Facundo, Gary Steen. It'll be interesting to see how they match up against the Iowa Hawkeyes. And not only will that conclude in March of 2022, but it'll start in December at the national duels, which are happening December 20th and 21st. These two teams will likely face off there, and then the dual meet January 28th. Now, like I said, don't forget about NC State, Oklahoma State, Arizona State, Mizzou. Each of these guys are bringing stud lineups. I mean, solid lineups they're all bringing to compete against Penn State and Iowa. So they could make some waves this year. Now, there's so much more about the college wrestling season that I wish I could dive into in this video. But honestly, I can't cover it all. The best freshmen from every team, 78 freshmen from every single team, most impactful transfers in the offseason that you may have missed, top 25 team rankings, and individual contenders at every single weight. If this is the info that like you need to know, and trust me, you do need to know it, I have this available in my ultimate guide to the college wrestling season. It's all available in the 40-plus page guide. You can get yours this week only for $9.99. I mean, this is worth well over $25. I'm giving it away at an affordable price for $9.99. I thought, could I afford this when I was like in college? And yeah, I think that this is something that I would pay $9.99 for. It's meant to spark amazing conversations with wrestling fans, and listen, I say you get your hands on yours today. If you follow this link right here, that'll take you to the guide where you can purchase your own. Enjoy.